You can go. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the June 17, 2025 Board of Adjustment regular meeting. And we all stand for pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sure. Mr. Moriano. Mr. Honorata.
Here.
Mr. Metallo.
Here.
Mr. Baskinger. Mr. Carmagnola.
Here.
Mr. Iania.
Here.
Mr. Ivarone.
Here.
Mr. Fiatarolo.
Here.
Mr. Lapari.
Here.
Chairman Travato.
Here. I'd also like to note that present is our attorney, Lou Rego, Secretary Steve Berry. Transcription is by Margot Biblin, and we have Allison Fahey representing Burgess. Let it be known that adequate notice and time and date of this meeting was posted in the lobby of the municipal building and delivered to the Star Ledger and the Progress. No case will be allowed to start its presentation after 11 p.m. I have a call for the approval of the minutes from the June 3rd meeting.
I'll make motion.
Second. Mr. Lapari, second. Mr. Ianni.
Mr. Carmagnola.
Yes.
Mr. Iania.
Yes.
Mr. Ivarone.
Yes.
Mr. Fiatarolo.
Yes.
Mr. Lapari.
Yes.
Chairman Travato.
Yes. This time I'd like to bring up application 2025-4, Isaji LLC,
Steve,
103, 105 Route 46, Block 4801, Lot 11.
Notice is good.
notice and publication are good?
Yes.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Kenny. Thank you.
We have the application, the chairman said, just for a D variance application and some C variance. Oshchi LLC is the owner of the property. Other businesses operate and rent space at this location, but this particular office area has been unrented for quite a while. This is the office area on the second floor. The owner is requesting a D variance to obtain permission to lease to online used car dealerships at the location. The property is located in the HD zone, and the C variance is also being requested for parking where 40.12 spaces are required and 37 are proposed. The applicant does not propose any construction to be done on the exterior of the building, but they will put up some partitions on the interior to fashion out a reception area where there'll be one receptionist at all times, which is in accordance with the motor vehicle dealership law. And they will have 7 small offices on the second floor to accommodate up to 7 dealers. And the applicant is adding 14 spaces in the rear, which are stacked spaces, and you'll see we have witnesses tonight that will make this very clear to the board.
Is it?
Our
Sorry to interrupt, John. Would you mind just hitting the button and maybe move the microphone closer? Thank you. So we
Thank
get
you,
it
Steve.
recorded.
Would you like me to start from the beginning?
No, not at all. No.
Our first witness is Frank Matarazzo. He's a professional engineer. Our second witness will be Adele Bellotti. Adele Bellotti is an owner of dealerships, and he has 10 years' experience owning an online dealership, and he can explain to the board how the business operates, and that will be responsive to many of the questions raised in the Burgess report. Our next witness will be Peter Steck, our planner, and we also have one of the two, we have both owners here tonight, and they would be available if there's any questions, particularly Fadi Ashji, who's sitting right here. He would be available for questions as well. So if I may proceed with the first witness.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll have him sworn in. Frank Matarazzo.
Frank, if you could raise your right hand when you get settled. With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes, I do.
Could you state your name and spell your last name, please, for the record?
Frank Matarazzo, Matarazzo.
Frank, you've been before this board many times. You've qualified as an engineer. Are your licenses still in effect?
Yes,
And John, you're calling him for an engineer, as an engineer.
Yes, I am.
Okay. If it's okay with the board, we can proceed.
Yes.
so the site's located on the northerly side of Route 46 on the westbound side, 2 lots in from the intersection of Plymouth Street, and it's adjacent to the liquor store, located in the HD zone, surrounded by commercial uses. The site contains 2 buildings and a paved area. The 2 buildings are connected by a second-floor bridge from the rear of the front building, connecting the second floor of the front building to the second floor of the rear building. The front building is a 1-story on the left side of the building and a 2-story on the right side of the building. There's several commercial uses on the first floor, such as 2 restaurants and a restaurant. The second floor is partially occupied by the owner, and the remainder of the second floor is vacant. The rear building is a 2-story masonry building occupied as storage on the first floor and warehouse on the second. The remainder of the property is paved with the parking lot. Has 2 driveway cuts on Route 46. There's a 1-way entrance and a 1-way exit, sort of a 2 separate driveways. There's 2 dumpsters located in the rear of the property, one in the left rear corner, one in the left right corner. We're proposing to relocate the dumpster that's in the right rear corner and combine it with the dumpster in the right left corner. So the proposal is to occupy the remaining portion of the second floor of the front building by an online car dealership for internet sales. We're proposing to restripe the parking lot to include a combination of 90-degree parking, parallel spaces, and stacked spaces. The stacked spaces will be dedicated for the proposed car dealership use. So each car dealership is required to have at least 2 parking spaces. Other than that, there's no proposed changes to the building on the exterior, the parking lot, no increase in impervious coverage, really no other changes to the site. That's about it.
Can you comment a little bit on the actual traffic flow on the property and where you've provided for stacked parking? Will that
Sure.
traffic flow?
So the traffic flow is basically, well, there's 90-degree parking located in the front of the building. So vehicles would enter on the driveway that's on the easterly side of the property.
Frank, can I interrupt you for a minute? I don't think we have this one with the coloring. You can mark that A1. I'm assuming this is a site plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Frank, while you're up, why don't you slide that over so you're not too far from the microphone?
No, I'm okay. Yeah. Okay, so we just marked the colorized copy of the site plan as A1. So in the front of the building, there's 90-degree head-on parking to the front of the building. We have 11 spaces there. Then the traffic pattern will be counterclockwise around the perimeter of the building. We're proposing parallel parking on the existing curb that's on the easterly side of the parking lot. Along where the rear building is, we're proposing 14 stacked spaces, so 2 rows of 7, each dedicated to each proposed car dealership. Then the traffic pattern flows along around the rear of the building, where we have some more parking spaces that's head-on against the building. And then there's some more parallel parking along the westerly curb. So that's going to be a total of 37 parking spaces on site.
Are you familiar with the access points to customers of the online dealerships? And can you show where that would be?
Sure, that's going to be, there's a front door on the front building. Just point to where it is. Right in this area here. Is that correct? Right here?
It's, P-tip has,
Excuse, John, we're gonna have to eventually swear him in.
Okay,
If you wanna do it now or later, why don't we stick with John now, with Frank now?
yeah, so that's the entrance to get into the building to go upstairs to the second floor.
Good, and there's a back entrance,
Yes,
or a side entrance rather?
side entrance.
Can you indicate where that is? Okay, that's right. If you just step away so the board can see. Side entrance. Thank you.
That's all my questions of this witness. Board has any questions?
how high is the stacking, the floor stacking?
Oh, it's not
It's not-
one above the, it's front to back.
Oh, okay.
Frankie, excuse me,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman. You don't have any signage on your site plan. Does that mean you guys will just conform to whatever ordinances and signs are allowable?
Well, there's an existing freestanding sign,
Right.
but each car dealership is required to have an identification sign, which will be on the building.
How do you,
And it's basically going to be ABC Car Sales, suite number, whatever it is.
He's concerned if it will be in accordance with the
Oh, yeah,
signage.
they'll all comply to the zoning requirements.
which is 10% of the overall face of the building with all the signage that might be on the
Correct.
frame of the building.
Correct.
Would, so this is basically a one-way, you enter, and it's one way around,
Right.
counterclockwise. Would there be any one-way signs or any one-way arrows on the driveway to ensure that people know to not
We could
go
put
the
that in.
opposite way?
We could put that in, absolutely.
So you'd make that a condition of approval if we do approve?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mr.
I'm sorry, you have another one?
Yes.
Give it up, Old habits are hard to forget.
Figured it had to be you, Vitale.
Oh, Jesus.
Mr. Matarazzo, you said that the lot will be restriped. I drove through it today. There were some holes that were filled with rainwater that, I thought I was gonna lose my car. Wouldn't you, if you've been through that lot, wouldn't you agree with me that that lot needs to be repaved?
Yes, it
Whether
does.
frankly, whether this application is approved or not, I think it should be, but
It needs to be repaired. I don't know if the whole thing needs to be actually repaved, but obviously the potholes.
it's
and
old.
They all need to be repaired.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Matarazzo, with regards to the individual signs across the front of the building, are you proposing any additional lighting
on those signs?
No,
Or just the existing lighting that's there?
just the existing lighting.
Okay, so it's not gonna stand out from anything else?
They're not gonna be illuminated signs.
So more or less like when you pull into a professional plaza and you see a tag, Dr. such and such.
That's
2A,
absolutely
that's it?
correct.
Okay. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
yeah.
Mr. Mazzarano, where you have these stacked cars, you have a dimension of 57.2. With two cars stacked, what would be that dimension, two SUVs stacked,
Everybody's sitting in a different chair. I can't-
in those stacked spots you got?
We had years, the same lineup.
So those will be 9 by 18, those two spaces. So that'll be 36 feet depth.
36 minus 20, 57, right?
Right.
So that lane would be roughly 21. And in 21, that car could turn without a problem coming out of those spaces in and out?
Yeah, yeah, that's why we're removing that dumpster that's in that right rear corner.
Enclosed dumpster area, you're gonna remove that.
Yeah, we're gonna move that to the other side.
What about the, I'm sorry, Frank. What about the turning radius for a fire truck?
That's not gonna change, it's an existing condition.
It's an existing condition. Is the approval for the stacked parking an existing condition?
No, that's proposed,
Okay, so that's a proposed.
yeah,
With that proposed use, we're now minimizing that turning radius from
That's
what was
correct.
original.
that's correct.
And is it your opinion that with making that change, that there is no turning radius for any apparatus?
Did we get a review from the fire department?
We got a review from the fire department. I will, just finding it right now, but they indicated they had no concern. Here it is right here.
Yeah, so we have two reports, one from the fire department dated April 16th, 2025, where they made no mention of turning radiuses or any issues with that. And also, we have a report from the Traffic Safety Bureau from the Fairfield Police Department dated April 25th, which says, "I do not see any problem with traffic safety with this request."
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Matarazzo, these calculations that you did here on these parking spaces, a couple of them show me a showroom, which requires less parking, am I correct? If that was to transfer to retail, which it can do, you would need more parking spaces.
The showroom, like the cabinet store in Unit 2
Right.
and the Unit 3,
He decides to move out, and that wanted to go to retail, you'll be increasing the number of spaces you're gonna need.
yes.
And then next door, I believe, I think you have two of them listed as a showroom.
Yeah, unit number 3, the CBD use, that has 500 square feet as a showroom and 885 square feet of storage.
And this stack parking, it doesn't exist right now.
No,
That's just gonna be just used for the on-sale? cars,
yes, yes.
That whole side there? So in your professional opinion, if everything was retail, with the parking spaces that are left without those 14, is there enough for everything to flow through?
If everything was retail, the parking requirement would be increased. It would go up.
Do you know off the top of your head?
What do we have for retail? 1 to 200? So the cabinet showroom
That changed.
would become
Here for parking relief.
4,
Yeah.
So we have the second bite at it.
5, 6, 6, 8. Be about 8 or 9 spaces different but then you subtract out what we have here, which would be 5, 6, probably be an increase of about 3 or 4 parking demand.
Right, so everything that's existing now, the showrooms.
Yeah.
All went to retail, you're only gonna need 3 more parking spaces?
Yeah, yeah, because the showroom now is 13, let's say 1,400 square feet, that would require 7. And then unit 3, again, call it 14, that would be another 7. So that would be 14 spaces. But then subtract out 3, 5. No, that would be 3. Yeah, probably closer to about 10 spaces.
Increase.
Increase, yeah.
Thank you.
And, I'm sorry, just to reiterate on that, how many parking spaces are required for the restaurant?
Well, the pizzeria requires 2.67, and the falafel restaurant has 24 seats, and it's 1 space per 3 seats, so that requires 8 spaces. So the 2 restaurants is 10.67, say about rounded off to 11.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if the 2 restaurants are 11 and you have 11 spaces in front, the other retail stores that are on the first floor wouldn't have anywhere to park and would have to go to the sides or the back to be able to park?
Well, I think what happens is it would be an issue of the hours of operation. I think the showroom isn't open during the evening. Same thing with the CBD place. I think that closes early, but the restaurants are open later.
Can you also go over the, in the rear, the Sata Food warehouse?
Yes.
The calculations for that, because I don't see anywhere on here where there's, I've noticed, I've been there several times, and there's a truck, and loading and unloading of the truck,
Yes.
and a designation for where that's actually occurring,
Yeah, we have the loading space shown on the plan.
where it's, all right, where it's in. Load area?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see that truck all over the place. I don't see it any specific area
Well, it would have to be,
designated for that.
Yeah.
and it would-
yeah. No, I think that's included. Yeah, it's 7 plus the loading space.
So we have, what other spaces are utilized on that side for the Sata Food Warehouse?
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry?
What other spaces are designated for the Sata Warehouse? How many spaces?
Oh, they're not identified as, they're not reserved for each particular use.
Okay, but how many are they required to have?
Well, the second floor, which is the storage area, that parking requirement is 1 space per every 5,000 square feet. So based on a calculation, it's 0.28 spaces, okay? No, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong
Further
building.
down your chart.
The rear building, Sata Foods, that one requires 2.4 spaces, while the upstairs storage area, which is occupied by the owner, is 0.37 spaces. That's a warehouse use.
So it's another 5 spaces
No, that's,
in total.
no, the rear building only needs just shy of 3 spaces for the 2 uses.
3, but it's shown 7.
Right, there's 7 spaces there.
Oh, so,
Of
Mr.
course,
Matarazzi,
they could be used by anyone. You know,
so
they're not designated only for which particular use.
Mr. Chair, so the owner's use on the second floor is in this back building that we're talking about now, on top of this,
He has a space in the rear building
right?
and also one of the units on the front building.
Right. Okay, so total for the food on the first floor and the owner on the second floor is 3.7 is all they need, you're saying?
2.77.
2.7, okay. And do you know whether or not the pizzeria, I know the timing you're talking about being a little differently, but is there an entrance to the pizzeria or the old falafel store from behind if people did have to park? Or would they have to traverse around the building and go to the front?
I don't think there's a customer entrance in the rear of the building.
Okay.
I have a question. It's very simple. Based upon the application, are there sufficient parking spaces there for this applicant?
I believe so. The parking,
How many are needed? Give me a number. How many are needed? How many would be required? Tell me.
the requirement per zoning would be 40.12. Okay, but now without the proposed use, the parking lot's always underutilized.
With this use,
Yeah.
how many do you need then?
You would require 40.12.
Do we have that? Yes or no?
We're proposing 37. So
Okay,
that's
so
what,
you're
that's the
three short.
variance, that's the variance we're asking for, yes.
A question, if I may. You say seven spaces for the car sales, the offices?
14,
14.
yes, seven car dealerships. Each car dealership is required to have 2 parking
Two
spaces.
parking spaces. Do you account for, there, I believe you're showing like 8 in the lounge seats? 7 or 8?
On the architectural plan?
Yeah, one of the drawings I saw, 8 seats, I counted them. That hasn't been taken into consideration, that if people show up early.
No, I think those number of seats should be changed. We're gonna have the next witness testify as to how many customers actually come to the site. We're looking at probably 1 or 2 at a time. I think the architect just filled that area up with chairs.
So it's your testimony, based upon the number of available spaces and the use of this facility, that there's ample parking?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Matter if you could just clear something up for me. You said 7 car dealerships,
Yes,
so that means there'd be 7 separate entities up there, not just one?
yes,
7 individual car dealerships.
yes,
That's why we require 14 of these spaces,
correct.
and they're separately owned,
Yes,
separately operated?
yes.
Thank you.
You were asked a question I'm not sure was answered thoroughly. You were asked if there's 11 spots in the front row, and those are taken by the restaurants. How many spots would be available on the rest of the site around the sides for any other tenants or restaurant users?
You'd have 26 spaces.
Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure if it's if appropriate for Frank or another professional. Going back on what Mr. Carmaniello said, these are 7 individually owned car dealers. Are we talking brokers? And are they managed by the individual that you had said is one of the owners here? Is he one of the car dealers? I'm not understanding kind of,
No, the owner is just, the owner of the property is just the landlord. The
Okay.
car dealerships would be tenants.
separate tenants.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Is it,
Kind of like sublet, like a barber shop would have 6 chairs, and they would, and, you know, each
I think
guy's
the next
individually
witness will,
owned.
Okay. That's
All right,
why
better
I-
break
yeah,
that down.
Yeah, all right.
I wasn't clear.
as, Frank, just as far as these 7 spots, are there gonna be cars to be shown in these 7 spots? Is that what the purpose of these
no,
double stacked?
no.
What's the purpose of the double stack?
It's really for licensing, to be used as a car dealership. But I think the next witness will
Yeah, as
speak
far as-
about that.
Okay.
The cars will not be sold or just, put up for sale with for sale signs on the site.
Okay, well, that'll go more towards operations.
Yeah, that's right. If the board's done with the questioning, if there is anybody from the public who'd like to speak or ask a question? So moved. Next witness.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Matarazzo. Let's see. Well, yeah, let's go with, I'm going to call the next witness, Adele Badali. Adele, you're going to be sworn in like we discussed.
Sir, if you could raise your right hand, please, with regard to this application. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes, I do.
Could you state your name and spell both your first and last name, please?
Sure. It's Adel Baladi, A-D-E-L. The last name is Baladi, B-A-L-A-D-I.
B-A-L-I.
No. B-A-L-A-D-I.
Thank you.
Mr. Bellotti, are you currently a dealer?
Yes, I am.
And how many years do you have experience in auto dealer?
I used to be a wholesaler for 13 years, and now I'm a retail dealer for like 20 years.
Where have you had businesses?
In Hackettstown,
Has your business ever been an online business?
it's always been online.
Have you had situations where you've rented from a landlord and that landlord gave you a situation like we're proposing here today where a tenant would get a license from the state to be a dealer, an
No.
online dealer from the state?
Never have no issue.
You've never had an issue,
No.
but you've
You
been a
guys are gonna,
tenant?
at least for me, you're
Yes.
gonna, gentlemen, can you maybe speak up a little bit and turn your mics on? I don't know about
I'm sorry,
anybody
yeah.
else.
Yeah, because I'm looking this way, yeah.
Yeah, but
Also, sorry, as far as Mr. Bellotti, I need to know what his specific role is in all of this, because we have 7 entities, and is he representing everyone? Or is he speaking?
is he the owner? of the-
He's a
we
fact,
don't-
he's a fact witness. He's not a tenant here, doesn't plan to be a tenant here. He's a fact witness that will explain how these operations have worked in other towns where he has personal knowledge of that.
Okay,
Is he,
so he has no involvement in this project other than a witness of how operations are?
That's his whole purpose, is a fact witness.
He's really more of an expert witness, and I think what you're getting him or trying to get him to do is to explain to us how online car sales work, is that correct?
100%,
Is that the proper?
yes.
Okay, so he's not a fact witness then, he's something of an expert witness.
Okay.
So why do we need to hear from, he's a very nice man, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Why do we need to hear this testimony? And why isn't the person who's gonna be running this operation testifying to what's gonna happen here as opposed to Mr. Bellotti?
Well, if you would allow me to ask him a few questions, he can speak from his experience of how this works. The current owner of the property has never been a landlord in this situation, can't speak from personal knowledge whatsoever. He understands, and I've learned a great deal from the owner of the property as to what he understands of the law and complying with the law, what he expects to have as on his property, how it's going to operate, what the impact will be. The landlord understands all that by knowing what's happened on other properties. But he can't say that he's ever operated himself. This man can.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes. Mr. Yanni.
Mr. Kiaya, this gentleman, for all intents and purposes, is testifying as a professional, an unlicensed professional based on his experiences, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But he's testifying for a gentleman that brought him here that you're saying has no knowledge of the operation, yet we're here before the Township of Fairfield's Board of Adjustments. I would think at this point, with all the documentation and all the fees that have been paid and, I guess, meeting all the criteria to get to this point, that the owner should have some knowledge, some basic knowledge. I would like to hear from the owner first. And then, by all means, we can hear from any witness that you would like to call. I
have no objection to that.
I don't quite understand you making the statement that the owner doesn't have any experience in this, yet you're sitting here testifying before a board, asking for a variance for a business that's going to occupy a considerable amount of space in that building along a highway corridor. I'm a little confused. I just need to be enlightened a little bit. And I mean no disrespect to anyone, but I'm trying to process. I know how typical applications come before the board, and this is not typical. How a person that's not directly involved in the project or an owner is basically testifying as a professional on behalf of someone else that doesn't know how to run the business, but is learning how to run the business, is learning how the business is going to be established. He can't speak to the criteria of someone else.
Everybody in this room is here for the convenience of the board. I'm happy to have him stand down at the moment. I'll bring the owner up.
If you could do that. please.
Absolutely.
Can I say something?
No, just let me bring up Fadi.
Sure.
Mr. Ashji.
His partner.
What are you guys doing? What are you doing? How many people am I going to bring up at once? One witness. Why do you want me to bring up him? Your partner? His English is better?
So what are we doing,
Have a
gentlemen?
seat. Stand up. You're going to be sworn in.
Yes.
This is Mr. Fadi Ashji. He's one of the two owners of the building.
With regard to this application, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Could you state your name and spell your first and last name, please?
Fadi Ashji. Fadiashji.
Okay, got it. And you're one of the owners of the subject property.
Yes.
Do you know much about what's being proposed for your building?
Yes, I do.
Okay. John,
Thank you.
all yours.
Mr. Ashji, is it your understanding that your property has had open space on the second floor for quite a while?
Like 3 years.
And have you advertised for that space?
Yes, I advertised for rent like for 2 times. First times for 1 year with the Wakert real estate company. They put their sign on the highway, and we got many people, but nobody interested to rent the space because no more business need offices maybe. So we have to renew the contract with them for 6 months, and they done their contract done last month. We couldn't get this space rented.
You did see other buildings successfully using office space elsewhere where it was a dealership?
No.
Did you see any other properties where the landlord was renting space to online dealers?
Yeah, I heard about many landlords do this in other towns.
And your space upstairs is adequate for office?
Yes.
So when you bring in an online dealer, do you expect that there will be 7 people there at the same time?
It doesn't matter because I read many things about this business, and I have the whole idea about this business. So I know everyone can put they can put one employee, cover all of them, just in the reception area. So the dealer can come once a day, maybe to make some paperwork. Maybe every 2 days, every week, once.
Okay.
Just like
So is the whole purpose of the office to do the paperwork of a car
Yes.
sale?
yes.
Where is the cars actually viewed by a buyer?
The dealer will buy the cars from the auction, and the auction allowed him to stay their car for 1 month, so he can store his cars in the auction. He can show the customer the cars in the auction, pick up the car from the auction, and the auction across the street from us. So it's very convenient for the dealer to do this.
A dealer could just stay at home and do this from their computer?
Yeah, it's always his phone do everything now.
Would the state allow him to have a license if he just worked from his home?
It doesn't matter. The state requirement him to be in the office for 20 hours, and he will put the hours, what day, what hour. But always the dealers put one person can cover 6 or 7 dealer. So if the inspector came from the state to inspect where is the dealer, if the dealer in his office or not, there is one employee cover him in the reception, so he doesn't need to be in the office all the time.
So it's set up so the one receptionist will be
Yes.
there for the state required
Yes,
hours.
1 or 2 employees, it covers the 7 dealers.
So the testimony is that you need a physical place under state law to run this type of operation, correct?
Correct.
Yes,
And in addition to that, this is going to be a place, I think you're saying, where it's really gonna be a place where paper documentation is exchanged in order to consummate a sale, correct?
Yes.
And in addition to that, you're not gonna be showing or storing any of these cars at the facility. They're all viewed ahead of time.
100%,
correct?
yes.
yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Go ahead.
So they're gonna view the car off-site, correct? If I wanna buy the car online, I'm gonna be directed to the auction, correct?
Yeah, he has many choices, not only the auction. He maybe buy the car from the auction and put it in the mechanic shop to fix it, make some detailing. So he can show the customer the car either way in the auction or the detailing.
So wait, when you say mechanic shop, excuse me, I'm sorry. When you say mechanic shop, you mean something separate from the office?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I buy the car at the auction. The car, I'm ready to take receipt
Not,
of the car.
not from the auction.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
From the dealer.
Yes.
I buy the car from the dealer that resides in your building.
Uh-huh.
Where do I pick the car up?
From the auction. Like if the car's still in the auction and the car doesn't need any detailing or any fix, the dealer will keep the car in the auction for 1 month. He's gonna sell it for.
Will
Yeah.
there ever be a time where a customer picks up the car from your site?
What?
Where will there ever be a time where a customer buys a car
Yeah.
through one of the dealers and they pick the car up from the site of their office? From your property. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, but why he's gonna come to?
I'm asking you, is there is there ever going to be a time where someone that purchases a vehicle comes to your site to pick it up?
Actually, I tell you the truth. Maybe the dealer will put the plate and bring it to the property and give it to the dealer, but to the customer. But he's not gonna showing the car in the
No, I
property.
understand that. And you said you have potentially seven separate dealers.
7 separate dealers.
So we
yes.
have the potential to have 7 different vehicles on site that have been purchased.
Yeah, but this possibility, it's very low. Yeah, it's
You're making an assumption.
yeah, but you cannot make a very low possibility and make it over the all dealers, you know.
Mr. Chairman, I think I'm finished.
And even though the dealer has 2 parking spots, you know, he has 2 parking spots. Every dealer has 2 parking spots, and he's not gonna use it. We're gonna use it at the 14 parking spot. We're gonna use just 1 or 2 for the employees, and the other parking spots, every dealer maybe come every day, once or every 2 days, to visit his office and pick up the mails and maybe print out something. That's it.
Mr.
It's
Chairman,
not
I just-
gonna be in the same times, and it's hard to be there.
Mr. Chairman, just one more thing.
Go ahead.
Initially, Mr. Kiaya stated that you did not have any experience.
No, I have.
No.
So,
let me finish.
go
Any
ahead.
experience in the online auto dealer business,
Yes.
correct? But now you're making statements to me, giving specifics, or basically saying to us that this won't happen. The chances of this happening is very unlikely, so you either have experience or you don't. So you're asking us to take your testimony and say, okay, he knows what he's talking about, but a few minutes ago, Mr. Kiaya
Okay.
stated that the reason why this other gentleman was here to speak from experience,
Okay.
right, because he's been in the business a long time, and he would help us understand the business.
Because I
See my dilemma?
yes
Okay.
because I discussed with my friend many times. Maybe we discuss about this situation for 6 months, maybe for 1 year. I know everything, but maybe we thought that if we bring someone professional, it's gonna be like clear and everything. It's gonna be like not from one like me, doesn't have any business like that before, but I can answer any question you want, you know.
I appreciate your effort.
And
Thank you.
I have to answer the question because I am the landlord. I have to know everything to fix anything in the future, any situation faced.
Okay, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman?
Yes.
I got a couple questions. Sir, you have to understand our point. We've already at this application got the engineer telling us, well, don't worry about parking, you know, if it gets too jammed up. You're the landlord. You got to make sure you service the 2 restaurants, but there's no back entrance. But don't worry about it because them and the dealers are going to be there at different times. I have to look at it as though what happens if you're busy and you're maxed, okay? Now you're saying that maybe 1 car might come back and get plates once in a while. You got 7 dealers. I don't care who tells me here, any of you, tell
Yeah.
me that you got 7 different dealers. You can't say to me, well, one will be here this time. There's only going to be a couple at a time. I have to protect the town.
Okay.
I have to look at it like all 7 dealers are there at the same time because that's a possibility.
Okay.
I didn't know going into this. I thought this was going to be like a Carvana or a Cars.com or a CarMax or a TrueCar or a CarBrain. So I did a little homework. All right, these companies work with dealerships. They buy and sell cars with Fetty Ford and and Schumacher Chevrolet, they trade the cars this way. You're buying these dealers are gonna be buying cars from the car auction,
Yes.
which are, a lot of them are sub cars. Okay, I see them on the road all the time. I see them at the gas stations. They barely move. There's cars from the auctions have so little amount of gas in them that sometimes they don't make it from the auction to the Delta gas station down the road to get the gas. So this is not a high-end Carvana or CarMax. This is, excuse me for saying it, a lower-end car auction, 7 different dealers trying to move auction cars. Is that what this is?
Yeah, but they manage their business only online. We're not gonna be involved in their business.
Okay,
know?
it's online, but you yourself said that there's a possibility that cars could be changing license plates. And this board has had a lot of experience with applicants telling us one thing, and then practically when they're doing business, they do other things. Okay, so I need to look at this as I need to think that your business is gonna be so good, the pizzeria, the falafel place, these guys are gonna have 7. I need to look at it from a max standpoint. I can't look at it like, oh, don't worry, it's not gonna be busy. So we have to look
I
at it
didn't
from
say
the other
that.
way.
I didn't say that.
You guys, there's been a couple statements already about 1 or 2 coming in, pick it up, mail.
If I may,
Yeah, John.
when you answered that a car could be there, you said, I'll be honest with you, it is a possibility,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Okay. You didn't mean to say that the cars go there.
No.
In fact, we know that somebody who has experience in this business over 10 years, not one car ever went to the office.
No, yes,
Is that true?
yes.
They need to understand that.
Yeah,
So
because when I answered, I didn't answer something I didn't know. So I'm not gonna be lie at you because I answer yes or no. But I'm sure for this reason, this guy here, he promised that in 10 years he didn't bring one car in the parking
Are we
lot.
speaking Mr. Bellotti?
Baladi.
Is that who we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
So my answer for your question, sir, not about only the dealers. The business inside the front of the plaza, it's like not heavy business. Like I know you expected to be the max, but the restaurant has 3 or 4 cars in the rush hour at the lunch. They have maybe 4 or 5 cars at the dinner time from 6 to 8. Like that. My plaza not like a very huge business inside, you know.
Mr. Fariashi, I'm sorry. As far as, we have to look at it as a potential. for
Yeah, I know.
Maximum density use. You have a very dense use of several different businesses, which we have no control or knowledge of what future things can be placed
Yes,
in here. So
sure.
we have to look at it from a maximum standpoint.
Yes.
We have
Yeah,
to look at it also,
understand.
it hasn't even been brought to our attention, if there's 7 dealers and they have 7 cars there, and you have 7 customers and you have 7 cars there, and you have 1 receptionist, you're at 15 spots just for your operation at any given time. That's not even allotting. What if you have 2 customers come in? What if you have 1 customer at the desk with them and another customer comes in?
Waiting room too, they have a waiting.
You have a waiting room. I mean, we're looking at the potential, we have to look at it from a potential standpoint.
If you say that, you can say also, what about if you have 10 customers come to the restaurant and the restaurant is full? They're gonna wait. Okay,
That's why there's
but
parking requirements.
always we have like this situation in all properties, not all, just me.
That's why there are parking requirements. You're asking for an additional use on an existing application that has required parking now. You're looking to extend beyond. That's what the application is here for. It's for a variance. to extend your use.
Yes.
And the density of the property you know, we have 8 uses on this property right now.
Is the property have vacancies in it right now?
Yes.
But we have the potential for 8 separate entities. And this one being one of 7 within
No,
the space.
now we have 5. Just 4 and 1 behind the warehouse. We have 5
Right, but
businesses.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, the 3rd one is vacant.
Okay, whether it's vacant or not, you have to
Yes, sure.
accommodate
Yes,
the
sure.
parking for future use.
Yes, sure.
We're looking at the future use. You're looking
I
at,
thought you count just the existing.
I'm looking at
Okay.
8 potential uses within the
Oh,
building.
potential, okay.
Right now you have 7, you're asking for 8, and within that 1, you're asking for an entity of 7.
It's really one office, is it not? One office with 7 licenses?
Yes.
And there's small offices that are gonna be built, small little one-desk offices.
One desk only with 1 safe and like this.
And then the receptionist in the middle.
John, that's semantics, whether it's 1 or 7, it's what it is, it's the square footage, it's 7 desks. I mean, sir, first of all, I'm also in the business of renting, my family has property. You have warehousing, you've got animal hospitals, you've got indoor recreation, which would include yoga shops, fitness centers, athletic trainer sections upstairs. You've got studios for music, dance, sports, and art. You got business and vocational schools you could put there. You got financial services that you could put there. You got offices, got other business services, got other personal services, barbershops, beauty shops, dressmaking. I don't agree with Mr. Kiaya's document that says that we would be giving you an undue hardship if we didn't approve you, because this is the HD zone, and it's a big zone with a lot of uses. So you want us to go outside that and come up with something different. Fine, I get that. That's why we're here, and we're gonna keep an open mind and maybe do it. I just want you to understand that we're concerned about the max. I have to weigh this against you not having a back door, and you should be too, because you're the one paying the insurance, and you're the one whose name is on the property. If those 11 spots are filled at lunchtime at any given time, and the CBD store is getting more popular, and you get a person have to traverse around the side of the building to get to the front to eat, if these 11 spots are taken and they get killed, it's your responsibility, and it's this board's responsibility also. These 14 spots and stacks should be there even if this company isn't there, because everything about your property is pre-existing non-conforming. You have 8 different pre-existing non-conforming issues on the property already. It's starting to sound, I'm not convinced, but it's starting to sound like a square peg in a round hole, but I'm still trying to keep my mind open. So we're not a Carvana, we're not a CarMax, but you can have 7 different dealers in at the same time doing business. Like the chairman said, you have 7 guys or ladies in there doing business. That's 7 of the spots. You have 7 people in front of them. That's 14 spots. You've got the greeter, that's a 15th spot. And if you got 1 or 2 others, that's 16 or 17 if there's 1 or 2 waiting. That's the way we have to look at it. Mr. Matarazzo, your engineer, has given us opportunities to think about a one-way generation of different things to try to get us to agree and say yes to this. But I just want you to have the knowledge of what our thought process is and the things we need, the hurdles that John is more than familiar of having to leap over to get an approval. Just wanted you to know that.
Let me continue asking questions that'll help illuminate the concerns of the board. Because how do they advertise? How does one of these dealers advertise to the customers?
Just online.
Do they have to be in the office to be advertising?
No.
Do they want to be in the office when they're advertising?
No. It's enough one employee to be there just to receive their meals, and that's it.
And that's the purpose of the reception desk?
Yes,
And that's also compliant with state law for the licensing?
yes,
But the state law requires that they have 2 spaces.
yes.
If the state law didn't require 2 spaces, would you have put 14 spaces on your application?
Sure, no. No, I'm not.
An office space there is only, correct me if I'm wrong, is only for filling out paperwork with the consumer to close the deal.
Yes.
How many spaces do you think will be taken on a daily basis of the 14?
My opinion, maybe 4 to 5.
Why so many?
My opinion, if 1 or 2 employees, the maximum 2 employees, because maybe 1 enough to cover all the offices, but let's put 2 employees to cover all the offices, and I'm sure, because I ask many dealers, the building in Hackstown has a 50 dealers office. And if you go there, you don't see any car in the parking lots. The parking lot has 100 spots, no even 1 car, nobody go there. Just 3-4 cars for the employees there cover all the dealers upstairs. That's it. You don't see anyone. All this kind of dealer manage their business online because that kind of dealer doesn't have any space to put their car. What they will doing here? Just sitting in the office? They don't have any job here. Just the office, they rent the office just to get the license, because the license requirement is 1 office, 2 parking spots. That's it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fariashi, you did make a statement that they are required to have 20 hours in the office?
Yes, or someone can cover you, like employee, and the state allowed to put every 6 or 7, I'm not sure. For this reason, I told you, if not 1 employee, maybe 2 employees cover the 7 offices.
So there's a loophole in the state law where someone.
Yes.
But I didn't see in the paperwork anywhere, Mr. Chairman, that law even existed.
Yeah, I mean,
In
that's
the whole
something we would have
application,
to.
I didn't see that law existed about the 20 hours.
No.
Sir, you mentioned that the second floor space has been vacant for a while?
Yes.
How long?
Like 3 years.
3 years.
And
And who was in there prior to it being vacant? What tenant was in there, or tenants?
I bought it, when I bought the building was vacant.
Okay.
Because the landlord was occupied this offices. They had online business. They was use this second floor for their business.
Okay.
When I bought this, in potential to rent this space so I can make some money, because I'm barely paying the tax and the insurance and the mortgage from the 4 stores and the warehouse. So I offer this space like now 3 years, and I have also the retail one. I offer also this retail space for 3 years, and nobody interested, either the retail or the offices.
Okay, with regard to the offices that we're talking about.
Yes.
Did you use a licensed realtor to help you with that? A realtor?
Yes, I have a Weichert realtor.
Okay, Weichert Realtor guided you through the 3 years. They were the ones okay. Did any tenants ever, or prospective tenants ever come forward?
Yes, maybe 5 or 6 tenants, but even I dropped the price, I couldn't rent it out.
What reasons did they give you for not wanting to rent that space?
Maybe the location, maybe, I don't know actually. Some of them need to make like gym, but the ceiling mine not high enough to make, you know, the gym business need to be like high ceiling. I couldn't rent it. And even I offered to rent it like in small offices, I couldn't.
Was the rental that you were asking what Weichert suggested, or was it higher?
No, it's very low, but nobody interested.
Is that what Weichert recommended, a certain
Yeah,
rent, and that's what you
no,
want?
I went down what they recommended, but I didn't get anyone.
And you didn't have one acceptance in 3 years? Not one?
Like last month, they took down their
For sale or for rent?
sign, yeah.
For rent, okay.
And we stopped offer this.
Okay, that's all.
Chairman, I got one, just another question. Sir, to the best of your knowledge, does any of the dealers ever buy their own, lease their own, or take any cars on consignment their own? Would any of these dealers ever buy a car, buy a vehicle, or lease a vehicle, or take on consignment a car themselves?
Like consignment?
Is your question, Mr. Lepari, about whether the vehicle, if taken on consignment, will be delivered to the site? Or is your question just how they do business?
I just want to know if any of these dealers, do they own the car? I mean, I guess they have to buy from the auction, so they own it at some point, and then they sell it.
That type of.
Yes, they don't own it because they buy it from the auction and they transfer it to the buyer name. Because they,
But
right? You own the car.
You have to own it, you can't flip
Okay.
title. I mean, you know, that happens all the time. You can't cut the middle guy out of the title.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, we can't.
Well,
He's a landlord. You know, he hasn't owned this business no more than the person who owns land could rent to a bank or to a Burger King. But he has become extremely familiar with the law. He sought my legal advice. He has a need. The building is underutilized. This type of office would bring in to that building new life, and they would be able to do a lot there that the board would like to see by way of cleaning up the property. So I could bring up that other witness to answer some of the more nitty-gritty details and verify what he's already said. Like, for example, in 10 years, not one car came back. That the guys that are online selling don't even go to the office unless they have a deal to close. These are important facts for why the property will not be overutilized from a traffic perspective or from a use perspective. Why we're here is we believe in this application and we think it's good for Fairfield.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Ms. Carmignol.
Quick question. You keep saying purchase from auction. Do they ever purchase from a private resident like myself? I wanted to sell my vehicle. And if they did, where would that vehicle be stored then? Because you told me you could buy it at an auction, it's stored at an auction for a month. So now you just bought my car. In my driveway, I want it gone. Where's it gonna go? In your lot?
No, your lot is the auction lot. In this case, your lot substitutes for the auction lot.
Right, which is
And they take pictures of your car, put it online and advertise it.
just 2 parking spaces, and I'm renting from this gentleman here.
No, sir. He only wants the people that buy your car from you to come to that office,
to sign the closing documents. That's all he wants.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
How are you gonna regulate this? My question was, if this gentleman here just bought my car, I want it out of my driveway, he has an office in your building, he has no place to store that car, he's gonna put it in that parking spot.
Okay. Can I answer? Okay. There is not only the car auction he can store their car, because the dealer has to have many options, and he knows he cannot store their car inside my property. There no, because all the car dealer offices like this, no, they're not storing their car over there. So, like my friend, in 10 years when he had office in Hackstown, he rented a small property, has 10 parking spots. He always, when he didn't sell his cars from the auction, he brings the cars to this parking lot. So every dealer has to have a small parking lot to their cars. And he knows this 2 parking spots only to park his car, the customer cars, not for cars he buy and sell.
I'm listening to that people are gonna go look at it at the auction, go look at it there. And now you just told me that he will take a car where he rents 10 spaces because he has nowhere to put it.
No, because he has many options. One of the options is the auction, to keep his car in the auction. But many dealers has parking, separate parking lot. They rented already for 10 to 15 cars. They put their cars inside, and they deliver the cars from this parking.
Okay, so then you don't think those spaces there, those 14 are gonna be used by any of your
No.
rental people?
No.
You're just giving it to them for them to get that license from the state of
Yes.
New Jersey? How do you know, how can you tell me they're not gonna put cars here? Because if I'm renting from you, and I'm a dealer, and I have 2 cars, I have the right to park in there, how are you gonna stop me?
Because their business will renewal by me every year, and they have to give me their word, and I will tell them my regulation that they cannot park cars for sale over there.
And your lease is going to be for online dealers only.
Yes, and their lease, yes, will be like that.
Online dealers only.
Mr. Kaye, I have a question. Are you going to have 7 separate leases?
Yes,
So these are all individual leases for each office space within that
yes.
whole?
So the use variance that you're asking for would be for a maximum of 7, whatever you want to call it, individual dealers,
Yes, every dealer,
online dealers.
used cars, yeah, used car dealer.
So if you want to squeeze an 8th in there, that's not going to be permitted. It would be the 7 maximum.
Yes, sure. Because I have only 7 offices and for 7 dealers. So, yes, for 7.
Mr. Kaye,
Are we finished?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody
you want to wrap up?
from the public? I have a planners to give you testimony as well.
You're good with,
We're finished with his
okay, I'm
questioning.
going to ask now if anybody from the audience would like to come up. Seeing none? Next witness?
If there's any need for my fact witness who's an expert in dealerships, because he's a business owner for more than a decade If that's necessary, I could bring them up right now.
If you feel it's relevant to your test, to your application, yes.
I'll reserve on that. Let me bring up my planner, and we'll move that one. You want to put them up?
Yes.
Mr. Bellotti, please come up.
Question for the engineer,
Frank, you're on.
didn't get to ask. It's simply, do this 14 spaces have to be stacked? And I asked this
They don't have to be stacked.
is it better for the radius of a large vehicle if if there's an aisle in between, for example, or if they're at an angle versus head-on? Can you fit that same amount of spaces in that overall space if they're situated at an angle, or if there's an aisle in between them?
No, you wouldn't.
Okay.
You wouldn't.
How is there enough space to the right of them if you couldn't do the same thing in between?
Well, we have about 21 feet for driving lane, which is more than adequate for one-way traffic.
But you wouldn't have that same amount of space in between if you bumped them across? That's a shame.
You mean just slid these spots over to,
Yeah, I'm just asking if that were better for a larger vehicle to get through.
I think it'd actually be tougher to maneuver, to be driving in between the two parking bays as opposed to just having them on the outside.
Mr. Maraz, I have a question for you while you're back up. If these were offices, which are an approved use without a D variance to put offices there, if they were offices, how much parking would be required? More or less than the 14 that we're providing, if you know?
The space is around 2,700.
About 2,700 square feet?
27.
It's not permitted office space, but if it's
11 spots.
So if we came in with an application for offices, which is an approved use, we would only need 11 spaces.
Yes.
But for the same space, we're providing 14.
Correct.
Thank you.
The difference being that
Can I-
one is permitted and one's not permitted. So you need more, yeah.
Could I ask a
Okay.
backup
The
question?
state licensing is the difference.
Mr. Matarazzo, in reference to that, would it be customary to have stacked parking for an office?
No, it wouldn't.
No. it wouldn't. Thank you. Next witness?
Yeah, Mr. Bellotti, call him back. He's been sworn in.
Mr. Bellotti, you're still under oath?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Good answer.
I want to talk to him because he seems like he knows about the car dealer.
Oh, God.
Wait a second.
No, I'm here. Any question you guys want to?
My question to you is this.
Sure.
It's relative to the intensity of an online dealer, how intensified their use is of a property. So I'm going to ask you, if this was can you compare if this was an office of 7 offices that were, say, lawyers, or 7 offices of car dealers that are online dealers? Give me a comparison of the intensity of the two uses.
I will go with the car
Well,
dealer
that would
online because right now
Excuse
everything.
me, mister, that would depend, that's like a moving target. It would depend on the municipality we're in.
It's just foundation.
The size-
It's just
the
foundation. I'm going
size
to
of
get
the
more
property.
specific from there.
Is he talking about this property, this size? I mean, I don't want to do apples to oranges.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
we need to
how about-
focus on,
How about if I just ask him about the intensity
Okay.
of the use? Can you describe the intensity of the use? How often are they there? How many hours a day?
Well, I'm gonna give you an example. I used to be in Hackettstown. I just goes once in a week just to pick up my mail.
You have one office in Hackettstown.
I never park car there. I goes once in a week just to pick up my mail. That's very simple example. I don't park car there, and I can
Yeah.
prove it to them.
Why do you go to that office other than to get mail? What happens when you sell a car? Do you go to do the paperwork
I
there?
never go there. I do the paperwork, well, the auction there, I bring my reassignment. I'm pretty sure you know what that mean, a reassignment. When we buy a car from auction, we have the car under our dealer name. But when we sell it, they give us the Moravica reassignment book. Every customer has a reassignment to go register it. That's what I do. And everything online. There's no such a thing walk-in now. Like nobody come to the dealer, walk around and check for the car. I have it on my phone, TrueCar.com, CarGoogle.com, CarForsale.com. I answer all my questions here, and I have a big one. I have 65 cars.
there.
Nobody walking. Everything online still. I do the finance application online. I ship the car to the customer without even look at it. Because everything online, as you know, I'm looking at you because you know what you're talking about. Everything on Carfax is provided. Everything's provided. All history of the car provided. I've had people pay me wireless money. I ship it to Connecticut.
Let me ask you a question.
There's no such a thing to be in the dealer.
How do you comply with the 20-hour rule if you're only going there to get your mail?
We used to have in the Hackettstown location, the girl, she covers 7 dealer individuals. If, let's say, the inspector come, she can cover up to 7. That's the regulation of the motor vehicle.
And does she have to be there 20 hours a week?
She worked there.
What is the state law with regard to the minimum hours? Is that
20 hours. You have to make your own hour.
is that per week?
For a week, yeah, 20 hours per week.
So because she's there
I don't go there.
40 hours a week, something like that?
She worked from 10 to 5. And by the way, nobody locked the car after 5 o'clock. Even me, I can't go in. After 5, shut down. No more business at the dealer. So, for example, in his case, it's better for him because after 5, the lot is empty. No dealer there, nobody's there. The business hour in Moravico, 10 to 5, Monday to Friday. We don't work weekends. Moravico, they don't work weekends.
And in this case, this location, will the hours be 10 to 5?
Yes.
10 to 5, that's our
Monday through
business
Friday.
hour. No Saturday, no Sunday, Monday to Friday. And like I said, I can prove it to you. I'll
That's
take a
okay, I
video
got
on
it.
Hackettstown, there's no car there.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the board?
So the only company that does set up locations for drop-offs and stuff is CarMax, right? All the other ones don't. Carvana doesn't, you don't.
Yeah, that's what we do. I have my own transportation from the auction. Like if I sell the car, I ship it to Connecticut, I ship it to, well, but everybody, as you guys know, right now, I've been doing this for like since 1997. There's no people walk in anymore. People, they have to do homework home, look at the Carfax, look at the VIN number, look at the history of the car. When they don't even come to look at the car because I provide, if I show you my website, 22 picture in the car. Underneath the car, the bottom, the frame, underneath the hood. People no need to come see the car.
Right, but you're not going to be operating out of this site?
I am, I'm gonna help him.
Oh, you're gonna operate out of this site too?
I'm gonna help him to situate the dealer how
You're
to.
gonna assist the owner in setting this up?
Yes,
Okay. You're not gonna be a tenant?
no,
Okay,
I have my own dealer.
I understand. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? That's the way you run your business. Can you testify that the other 6 people are gonna run it the same way?
Yes, because I have experience with all the dealers, we all do the same. Like no dealer do different thing because that's how we do as
So
a car dealer.
You all take pictures, you all send it out, and nobody's ever come to look at a car? Nobody has ever
Well,
questioned
it
it?
does, yeah, the people sometimes come, yeah.
Okay, well, that's what I'm trying to say. The way you made me
Yeah,
understand
of
it, it's all
course.
done over the internet, pictures are taken out, you ship the car out,
No,
that's it. You
some
don't see
people
anybody.
come, there's some people that wanna test drive it,
Right,
you know,
you-
but
Right, you can't guarantee that there'll be no cars, there's gonna be cars on the lot.
no, there's no car on the lot. When I used to be in Hackettstown,
That's when you used to be in Hackettstown.
yeah, right now I have my own retail car dealer, I have 65 inventory. And I don't have an office now, I have a car dealer lot. I have location, I have website, I have everything. I'm saying, when I used to be in Hackettstown 20 years ago, I used to have the car in the auction, take a picture of it, even if I need a car, you know, the that when you have a license, you have 5 dealer plate. You can drive too many cars at the same time. I used to take my wife, we go detail the car, take a picture of it, take it to the mechanic, whatever oil change need, and I bring it back to the office. Crazy. All the information there, the Carfax is there, everything. People that wanna drive it, yeah, come look at it. I give them direction, they come, they look at it, they drive it, and then we do the deal.
But Adele, you're not being clear on one thing. The places you're taking these people to see the car
When I used to be in Hyannis.
is, so it's not at the office.
No,
It's never at the office.
never at the office. I go once in a week just to pick up my mail.
So if they want to have the car detailed, do you bring it to the office? Or do you bring it to a detail shop off-site?
Like I mentioned, we have 5 dealer plates. We can drive 5 cars. I used to have my wife follow me with 2 cars. We detail it, we clean it. At the car wash, we take a picture of it, we do whatever we have to do in the car. Then we bring it back to the auction, which is safe over there. It's all camera. And they allow us to park the car for 1 month, which is, back then, the car would last me like two days to sell it. That's what I continue to do for 10 years.
So you're saying you wouldn't bring it back to the office because it's
No.
not convenient? It's a risk because there's no cameras, it's not something that's
Yeah,
under
because
surveillance?
the auction, they give you camera recording all 24/7. And there's a security, nobody can get in except if I'm with them and show them my auction ID, they will let me in with the customer.
Okay, so it's his testimony that it's common practice in the internet car sales business to not bring the car back to the office. It usually stays someplace else. We get it. That's his testimony.
But I have a question, if I may. Mr. Bellotti, you said that you don't do that anymore. You said you went back to what I call the old way, where you said you have a facility or a space for 65 cars. Why did you go back that way if this way was so great?
Because that was my kid's idea. They want to be like a car dealer officially, not like me wholesaler, you know?
Uh-huh.
Because most what I do, basically, which is 50% what I used to do, not sell a retail, take the car from auction, which is, when they repossess the car, it's all dirty, nasty. So what I do, I clean it, make it look shiny, and take it back to the auction, make a couple hundred, sell like 10 car a month. It doesn't hurt to do retail also. When I get people, same time I have the advertise online, same thing, they wanna buy a retail, I make more money. If not, then I run it back to the auction, I make money. Because when they repossess the car, they're all nasty, like they throw garbage on and everything, they don't want the car anymore. So that's what I do. We clean it, we make it look shiny, we detail it, we buff it out. And people, when they see the car shiny, they buy it.
They buy it at the auction?
Yeah.
Okay, but now let me ask you this. If somebody didn't want to buy it at the auction, you bought a private car from somebody out of their driveway, where are you gonna sell it at? Where am I gonna come look at it?
He has a car dealership.
Well, you have a car dealership now.
Yeah.
How's it gonna run out of this office here?
I never buy 5 car one shot. Even if I buy 5 car, I keep them in auction.
Okay,
Back then,
I'm asking you in the Fairfield location, you're gonna have an office. You bought my car out of my driveway.
yeah,
Where's that car gonna go?
straight to the car wash, clean it, and to the auction.
So you're gonna park it across the street, what's
I'm
the
gonna run
name?
it to the auction. sell it at
Skyline?
auction.
Skyline's gonna let you park it over there?
Yeah, 1 month.
Even though you didn't buy the car from them?
It doesn't matter. It's under my, because when I buy it from you, I'm gonna flip the title under my dealership. I can't sell it under your name.
No, listen, you're confusing me, because I understand you're buying a car from an auction. I can understand if you're buying it from the auction, they let you take it back and put it there. You're cleaning it up so you can sell it again. So are you telling me that even if you buy a car privately from someone else, Skyline Auction is gonna let you park that car there?
If I flip the car under my dealership, same day, I can run it.
If
back
you
to-
flip it the same day, there you go,
Which is a
thank you.
reassignment.
What if you don't flip it the same day?
It's a reassignment, sir. He knows what that means, reassignment. I don't have to go to motor vehicle. I have a book. You sign it, I sign it, I flip it under my dealership.
Okay, you just bought my car, we're sitting at my dining room table, I signed a bill of sale.
Yeah,
What happens now?
this is mine now, under my dealership.
That's yours.
Because when you sign it, there's a seller, me, it's gonna be Ledgewood Auto Group, which is my dealership.
Right.
When I prove it that to the auction, I'm gonna run it to the auction, sell it, they let the car in.
That same day, you're gonna take it, they're gonna let it
Same
in.
minute.
So
We
that
can do
car
it
won't
now
even,
if you want.
that car won't be in Fairfield then at all?
There's nothing that's gonna be in Fairfield. I
Okay,
mean,
can
as
you tell
as
me
an
that,
Hackensack,
can you tell me that the other 7 dealers are gonna operate that the same way, working out of that office?
That's what I was supposed to do.
Hold on, that's what you're supposed to do, but you can't not tell me that they're not gonna operate
They're not
the
gonna
same way.
have time to bring the car to the office, because if they're gonna bring it to the office, they're gonna waste time. Either they're gonna have to sell on the auction or online. And either way, if the auction provided for 1 month, which is, I never see one car last more than a week. Because we are wholesaler, we got the car, for example, your car, I would say 2010 Honda Accord. If you're gonna sell me fee, for example, for 3,000 at the auction, I'll buy it for 1,500. If I buy 1,500, I advertise it for 2,500. Sometime 2 hours I sold car. This is how we work.
Okay, good. Listen, you have to understand that I have a problem with this only because if we grant this to you, it runs with the property.
Of course.
It could become a used car lot like that. So that's
This
why
is
I'm
what
trying to get
happened to me,
the i's dotted and the t's crossed. Because it's gonna run with the property.
I did this for 10 years, and I was super happy, but when my kids grow up, they wanna like get a car, official car dealer, which is, I've been doing this good for like 15 years. I don't do that kind
No,
of.
listen, I totally understand that, but when you're gonna bring in 7 different tenants who can possibly run their business 7 different ways, I got a problem with that.
You're not gonna have problem, I promise you, and I can prove it to
You can't guarantee me that. You can't tell me these other people aren't gonna
If
think
they're
the
not
same.
gonna park there, what kind of problem you have?
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is all new to me, and I think it's probably new to most of the board here.
I think
But-
some of them understand the point.
Look, we need every vote, we need every vote
Yeah,
here.
we
Let
need
me,
every vote.
let me
Let me
just,
see, let
listen,
me talk with the
I'm
businessman.
asking the questions, hold on. You've talked about what was a standard way to operate an online dealership. And you said the standard way, correct, was not to bring cars back.
Yeah.
If we only rent to online dealers, can we be certain they're not gonna bring cars back?
Yes, because the landlord makes the rule. I don't want no car in my in this facility, which is, they know that. And I can prove it. I can call my secretary in Hackettstown. She can FaceTime them. They have, like, I would say, 2 acres square mile, all you see sticker. Let's say Ledgewood Auto Group, 2 sticker. Whatever auto group next to it, all empty. No one car parking there. I'm talking about 100 dealer in Hackettstown. I can get the proof to that. I can video it and send it to the board.
And this is all done, wasted space, because they're complying with state law to have a
Yeah,
license.
They have to have 2 parking. Movico won't prove it to you. They have to see, for example, Ledgewood Auto Group has 2 parking space.
And that's what makes this a perfect use for
Yeah,
Fairfield.
they gotta prove it right away.
They're not
And
gonna
they
have cars.
to have a safety lock inside the office and table and a phone line active. It has to be phone line with the phone number.
The law requires the
Yes.
phone line, the safety box.
Safety, and the paperwork, whatever you do paperwork, has to stay in the safe. With a, whatever, even with a dealer plate, whatever you use it, you have to write down what did you use it, what plate number the car, what kind of car you use it with a plate, and what plate number, because they give you 5 plates. Each individual plate you use it, you have to write down, what did you go to car wash, you have to write it down, from where to where.
Online dealers, they don't wanna bring the cars back because they don't make as much money to do it, to move it around, right?
If they're gonna sit in the office, they're not gonna make money. Because, one more thing, at the auction, they do OVE. I'm pretty sure you know what that means, OVE.
I don't know if I know, you tell me.
It's like the
It's
car,
everything.
it's an auction,
Right,
auction day is every week, once in a week.
right.
But the OVE is 24/7, all the dealer can look for the car.
That I did not know.
So now you learn something.
I
from
know
me.
that. You learned, I learned from you.
I'm serious.
All right, no,
At the
yeah.
time, when I used to be a wholesaler, I have the car, they run it once in a week, which is especially across the street, Tuesday. They run it only Tuesday sales day. It was not sell, next day I got surprised, they emailed me, your car sell on the OVE. So,
What does the acronym stand for?
OVE is like online access for only the dealer. They can access, like, let's say I have a 2018 Lexus. The run day, like Tuesday, they didn't sell, nobody bid on it. And they put the car to auction like
Online vehicle exchange.
nationwide, like people buy from Connecticut, people buy from California. They buy, they're looking for that specific car, they buy it online and they ship it to them. And a lot of time it happened to me. Like the car sit in the auction, I got offer on an OVE and I sold it.
You mentioned before about a lot of the cars that are on repossessed, they come in, they're not such good shape. You fix them up a little bit, make a few $100s. Is there any high-end cars that get sold?
There's a lot of high-end repossessed car, like you purchase Porsche, for example, for $40,000, and you pay down payment $5,000, and the 1-2 payments you don't pay it, United Auto Credit or Westlake and credit accepted, they're gonna repossess the car. And they're not allowed to sell it, they have to send it to auction, and it would be me to buy it. Or me or somebody else, you know. There's not like he's mentioning, like he probably sold up a car across the street, broke down or overheating, but not all of them. There isn't such a nice car you can buy it.
How often did you buy a car from a private citizen when you were an online dealer?
Oh, a lot of time, yeah, I buy it. Like if they have a good deal, I buy it, you know.
And then where did you bring the car?
Straight to the auction.
Thank you.
Mr. Bellotti, do you know if the owner of the property has 7 potential leases lined up for this space if the board approves this? Does he have 7 lined up? Meaning
I have more than 20 they're looking for office.
20 for those 7 spaces, spots.
They're desperate to rent it so they can use the license to buy car in the auction.
Okay, all right.
It's already waiting for him to get approved. I just feel bad for him.
Okay, we got it.
They're just desperate to get a license that they can operate the car in the auction.
Mr. Gaines?
I'm finished asking questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman.
Anybody from the board? Anybody from the audience? Being said?
Last witness, Peter Steck,
Witness.
please. Thank you very much.
Peter, could you raise your right hand, please? With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes,
This board knows Mr. Stack, your license is still in effect, Peter?
it is.
Okay. If the board doesn't have any problem, I certainly don't.
Mr. Steck, are you familiar with this application?
I am,
And you've prepared a report?
yes,
And you reviewed the report of the town's expert, Burgess?
I did.
Do you care to make any expert opinion?
Sure. I made a mistake because last week I bought a car for my daughter and it wasn't online. And it took a lot of time and a lot of paperwork. What can I say? That was before I was educated about this. The issue confronting this board is that the state of New Jersey has strict rules for car dealers to protect customers, to make the business sound, and it's one size fits all. I have a dealer license and I can sell 100 cars a day, 1 car a day. There are set rules, and the rules, as you discussed, you got to have an office. The town zoning officer has to sign something that says it's a permitted use, or by variance. You have to have 2 cars, and if you heard, you have to have a person at a desk at least 20 hours a week. And otherwise, you don't get the license. And you don't get the 5 dealer plates. As you know, the world has changed in terms of buying cars pretty dramatically from a long time ago. And this use that the applicant is proposing is probably going to be the lightest intensity use that you can find occupying this 2nd-story office space. From a land use point of view, it's an office. It's an office where most people don't even show up. If you had another permitted use, a real estate office, as you were suggesting, an exercise place, but the ceilings aren't tall enough, all of these other uses, in my opinion, are going to be more intense than what is proposed here. There are going to be 14 spaces in the back that are not used, but we got to have them because the New Jersey motor vehicle laws have just not changed to accommodate how the business has changed. And again, it's one size, whether you retail or wholesale, you need the same license. And whether you sell 1 car a year or 6,000 cars a year, it's the same license. So what this applicant is faced with is that he has to frame his application so that he can get a license. And that's why all this discussion was. But from a land use point of view, this is an office use. If you I assume you looked at my report, I used your definition of an office, and it's a place where people sit down at desks and they have communication machines and typewriters or computers. That's what an office is. And from a pure land use point of view, that's this use. The prior owner used it as an office. It's going to be changed to an office. And anybody that's walking inside this building is going to look and say, there's an office here, except no one's here. What's going on? The answer is there's a secretary here, and that's it. And that's the dilemma with this. You could say that, if it's a retail store, and what if there are, it's Target, and all of a sudden, there are 2,000 visitors that go to Target at one time to buy something. I mean, it statistically can happen, but the answer is, from a land use point of view, it doesn't happen this way. There is, as Mr. Bellotti said, there's a demand for this kind of space. And which means to me is that if someone doesn't abide by the rules, you can kick them out. There are people that want this space, and that helps to enforce this. So, this is a tough property to market. It's at a weak end of your highway development district. The applicant has made a good faith effort to try to lease this space. He's done it through Weichert Realtors. Has had a difficult time doing it. I talked to a couple of the business owners this evening before I came here, and basically all the parking that they need is the 11 spaces in the front. The one guy that has the use to the right, what's it called, Experience, whatever it is, he parks over on the side on the driveway. But the parking that they need is basically the 11 spaces in the front. I am confident that, and so you need some loading in the back. That's where the truck is for the second building there. But this use, from a practical point of view, is going to be lighter than other permitted uses. And again, you can, this is a statistical thing. If I have a Dunkin' Donuts drive-through, statistically, 30 people could show up at the same time for their coffee. It's not going to happen. And that's the nature of land use. I mean, it bases on averages. This is a zone that permits office use. The space was an office use. From a land use point of view, it's going to be an office use again, except it's going to be sucking air most of the time. And that's just the nature of the business. And again, it's a difficult part of the corridor to lease. This building needs to be put on better financial setting so that it can continue to be maintained and the potholes can be filled, et cetera, et cetera. I think that there, as indicated in my report, there are at least two purposes to the municipal land use law that are advanced. Purpose A, talking about promoting the appropriate use or development of certain lands. And purpose G talks about sufficient space in an appropriate location. Weak end of the district, there happens to be a big auction right across the street, not too far away. This will be less intense than permitted uses, in my judgment. And because this is, the misfit here is that the business has changed. And unfortunately, the state has one license that fits all. I wanted to get a license for flying a drone to take photographs. I have to know how the drag changes on an airplane to get a license to fly a little drone that does. I mean, it's incredible because things have changed. These drones are all automatic now. They automatically stop at 400 feet, but they tell me I have to fly my drone at least 400 feet under the clouds. Never gonna happen. But, so this is an instance where there's one size fits all. This is a developing part of the business. You have testimony from someone that has experience. And because there is a demand for this kind of space, I think this is a peculiar fit to this property. Weak end of the market, and you know the office market is terrible. But this is a place where you'll walk in, it'll look like an office, but it'll look like an office that no one shows up in. But he needs these little details because without them, the zoning officer won't sign off and says you're a permitted use because of the variance and the conditions or whatever. That's what he needs. But frankly, from a land use point of view, it fits within the ordinance and the master plan. It's an office.
Thank you.
I have a question. Someone's gonna follow up. You mentioned 2 cars relative to a space.
Two spaces, not 2 cars.
Explain that to me. What were you saying? What is that?
If you have a dealer license, you have to have a minimum of 2 spaces to store cars. And you gotta have a sign in it. Here's, Ledgewood 1 and Ledgewood 2. You don't have to put a car in there.
But you have to have 2 spaces.
But you have to have 2
physically
spaces.
on the property.
Yep.
Why would they make that a requirement?
I think it's so people, I mean, there are people that want to be dealers because they just want to get deals on their own personal cars. And the answer is they want it to be a real live place. They don't want someone to work out of, a mobile home or something. They want a physical location. So a state inspector can go ring the doorbell, check your paperwork. Do you have the stuff in the, in the vault? They want to know that there's a physical presence. So they require 2 spaces. They don't require cars in them. They just need 2 spaces with 2 signs on them.
Okay, so my next question is this. Have you ever seen, her experience as a planner, this type of application in other towns?
I am not familiar with it because it's it's just an office use. I don't see balloons. This is not a use where, there are balloons flying in some inflatable person or whatever. This is something that happens in a normal office, and that's why I thought it was valuable to have the last witness, because he's been doing this for 20 years.
So it's your testimony that really what we have here is an office use and not a car dealership?
From a land use point of view, yes, but I'm stuck, or he's stuck, with the state licensing.
Okay, and have you seen other instances of similar issues evolving in different industries where the business is done online and it's run out of an office like this, and there are zoning issues? Have you ever come upon the zoning issues before?
Like there are internet hotels, right?
Go ahead.
I once did an internet hotel right at the bottom of the helix for the Lincoln Tunnel. The traffic demand for that is like 2 in the morning, because that's when the techies go, to adjust, all their internet sites. It was a very weird use, but that shows you how things have been changing. They needed a lot of the backup power. They didn't need any heat because all these computers were they had to cool the building, is what it is. But there are new uses that come up that don't fit the mold, and this is one of them, a variation of it. But from a pure land use point of view, is it gonna look ugly? Are there gonna be balloons? It's not gonna be there.
Okay, so this is basically an instance where the ordinances or the statutes really haven't kept up with the nuances of a certain business, essentially.
I think that's the case
correct?
here.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask Mr. Steck one
Yes.
more question? Mr. Steck, are you saying that as a condition, you would agree to 2 parking spaces for the dealer? To
Yes.
comply with the state requirement,
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
So you're saying that you'll separate 2 parking, or segregate 2 parking spaces for the dealer?
He's gotta have two
Each
park-
dealer.
Each dealer has
Each-
to have 2
right.
spaces with signs on them.
Okay, and enforcement of that? Are you saying that no one's they're not going to bring cars there?
Well, the answer is, I can't say that because because I'm now running afoul of the state requirements. I'm
Right.
telling you, from an operational point of view, he's not gonna put cars there, but,
So we're gonna have 14 vacant parking spots that can't be used,
well.
or labeled, but can't be
Right.
used. Is
I'm-
that what you're saying?
I'm guessing, if someone's a dealer and they put a dealer plate on their car, I'm guessing they can park there. As long as they have a dealer plate on it, but what the state cares about is that there are 2 parking spaces for each dealer. That's all they care about. That's the checkoff list.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So I made a mistake by buying my daughter a car.
No more questions. Thank you, Chairman.
Anybody from the audience? Seeing none?
Peter always does a good job. He's a funny guy.
Your ball.
I know you've heard from the testimony. I know that also you recognize that we had to notify people within 200 feet of this property. We've had to advertise tonight. We've written to the fire department and police department. We've gotten nothing but positive in return from the police and fire. There's nobody here to complain. And yet, to your credit, you've looked at this application very, very closely to protect your town, and I knew that would happen when I first met this applicant 4 months ago, and we talked about this application. And I'm convinced that there's gonna be nothing more than vacant offices there. And that since it's already a zone that allows for office, I thought this was something that was good for Fairfield, and I believe in the applicant. I hope you do as well. Based on all of the testimony tonight and the representations, I respectfully request that you grant the C and D variances with the numerous conditions that have been discussed, including one-way signs on the property, repaving potholes, that the total of all signs on a building face be less than 10% to comply with the town, and there would also be no illumination on those signs, and that we would lease to only online dealers.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
may I ask Mr. Baladi a question? Who is the employer of the reception person?
Be hired by the landlord.
Oh, so the landlord actually is her employer, or his?
Yeah.
Okay. The dealers don't have to pay for that service?
Well, I used to
Through
give her
their-
tip here and there, because she take care of my mail. When I have important mail, she call me. But the landlord is supposed to hire secretary in the reception.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that your case, John?
Yes, thank you.
Any comment?
Public comment?
Any
Any
public
public comment? No?
Any comments from the board?
If I could, just,
Yes.
the landlord is gonna be the one that's getting the license?
No, the dealers have the license.
All 7 separate, different licenses are gonna be, so it's not gonna be one license and they're all working under his?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Discussion? That being said,
Any board discussion? Just a reminder, you all know the applicant would need 5 affirmative votes, 5 yes votes for the use, and then the C variance as well. Well, combined, subsumed within the D. So 5 affirmative votes, and I think there are 8 members here, so Rocco, are you gonna vote? Do you vote tonight, or?
Steve?
Someone does not vote
Yeah,
tonight.
Steve with Moriano and Baskinger.
Who's the last alternate?
Ianni and Ivorall will be voting members
Voting,
tonight.
okay. Okay.
That being said, call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve subject to a bunch of conditions. So those conditions would be signage conditions we spoke about earlier, repairing of potholes in the parking lot, that this would only be leased to the tenants as an online car dealership, that the hours of operation would be 10 to 5 Monday through Friday, that this would not be a used car lot, and that no cars that are going to be subject to sale would be stored overnight at the facility. Or if someone wants to chime in and put a shorter time frame on that, I'm open to thoughts.
I also had, I think Tony asked for on-site signs in terms of traffic direction.
Yep.
So that, the signs in the building would not be illuminated. Did the board discuss designating a loading area? I thought I heard that.
Yes.
Designating a, okay. Repair, restripe the parking lot. No cars viewed on site. I think Jerry picked that up with, this is not a dealership.
Yeah.
7 maximum online dealers is the extent of the variance requested, no more than that.
And we're approving only an online use car dealership, that's the approval.
And that's it. Each dealer, 2 parking spaces, well, that's state law. Only online dealers. That's plus our normal garden variety conditions, that's what I have.
Mr. Rego, if I may, none of the things that you've conditioned are objectionable to us. But the greater purpose is that we don't lose a license from, a dealership license from motor vehicle. So should any of these requirements be contrary to that law, for example.
I understand.
All right, I just want to be sensitive to that, but we have
You're
no
saying
objection to
if one of these
everything you said.
conditions is gonna cause the applicant to lose a license, and I don't know if there's any here that would fall into that category.
And I plan to submit to you the certification that the zoning official from Fairfield will have to sign for each license. They're gonna have to come here and get a CO as a tenant, and they're gonna have to also get a business licensing, a motor vehicle business
No, I
licensing.
understand. We picked that up in conditions where if you need any of the approval, you go off and get it, yada, yada. Mr. Bellotti, let me ask you, you can stay there, the conditions that we talked about, in your experience, are any of them gonna cause a problem with the state?
Not really, unless if they don't, if the inspector come, nobody represent them, the signatory, they give them warning first time, second time, 5,000
Okay.
fine.
That's okay, that's.
But the conditions are okay, as far as you heard? All right, I understand.
And also each dealer, like as of me, in my town, I pay for the CO every year. I don't know about Fairfield.
Okay, well, that's subject to, that's whatever Fairfield needs.
At Hasbrook, they charge $1,000 a year CO, so every town is different.
Okay.
Not us.
Just keep in mind, you guys are gonna make money. I'm just letting you know, every town is
Fairfield's
different.
5,000. I'm just. All right, so.
We have that wrapped up.
An approval's on, a motion to approve's on the table with the conditions that we've listed.
Mr. Rego?
Yes,
If I could just ask you one question.
no.
Okay.
Yes.
No, send me a letter, will you? Let's say this gentleman here next year sells his building,
Yes?
and there's a new owner in there, and he wants to throw all the tenants out and put a used car lot there. If we okay this tonight, can he do that?
If we okay this tonight, a year, and he or any other new owner wants to convert it to a use, well, would that be permitted, the parking lot?
Would it be permitted?
A used car dealership is that permitted?
Right, would it, right now, it's not permitted.
No. No.
Okay.
It's not
no,
an approved
no.
use in the
If
zone.
they wanted to change it to a conforming use, wonderful. They have to come back here and get approval for that, site plan approval. If they want to change it to another non-permitted use, no, they have to come back. They just can't do it. They have to come back here.
So it has to stay as an online.
Right
with all
now,
the-
online, maximum 7 dealers, that's the ballgame. That's
gonna
what we're
run with the
talking.
property.
That's what we're talking, and that runs with the property, yep.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, just one thing on the, one condition of approval was the storage of the used cars.
That there weren't any to
Be overnight.
no cars viewed on site, or to be marketed on site. And I think Jerry put in, or overnight. Or stored, or stored on site. Okay.
So that does leave open the ability for him to have a car stored there during the day for viewing.
No, I don't think so. Sure it does. The parking spots are there for it. So of course they can do that if they want.
So I would like to strengthen that by saying that there would be no used cars allowed on site.
You gotta be careful now.
Yeah.
Mr. Kiaya talked about how it's nothing that, because none of this matters if they can't get the license. And if there's a condition of approval that they can't do something the state needs them to be able to do, then they won't be able to get their licenses. So I don't see how that could be a condition.
No cars viewed or stored on site. That's what we have. But maybe picked up on site someone said on occasion, a car may be picked up on the site. That's what I heard. Yeah, yeah,
So,
Just call for a second.
yeah, I don't,
yeah, call for a second.
I'll second it.
Steve?
Mr. Honorata,
Yes.
Mr. Metallo,
Yes.
Mr. Carmignola,
No.
Mr. Iania,
No.
Mr. Ivorone,
no.
Mr. Lapari,
No.
Chairman Travato.
No.
Motion fails. So, the application's denied. Take a break or something.
Is the objection only because of parking? And if we had maybe 4 or 5 instead of 7, it might be more palatable?
I don't wanna,
I don't want to speak on behalf of the whole
we
board,
don't
but
know, we just dealt with what we had tonight, and,
I think there was too many open areas.
want to take a 2-minute break?
Yeah, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. Steve?
Yep.
Yeah. We'll take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah.
She's become a judge.
I used to have bulletproof underneath there. Rich
Now
Ducks
I
is
got it.
bulletproof.
I'm being.
Rich, if someone ever fires you, push him out of the way.
Tony will duck under.
Okay,
So you know what we're doing here?
okay, on to new business. Application 2025-5, Siaka General Contracting, 81 Passaic Avenue, Block 1801, Lot 1.02. Mr. Kaye.
Excuse me, John, before that, I have to recuse myself,
I'm sorry.
from this application, so I'll
And I
be
think-
leaving.
Anybody else?
Oh, no, you gotta come back.
Yeah, we're probably not leaving tonight.
Couple things. We're gonna open up, we're gonna do a little bit more business at the end, so.
Okay, I'll wait for you.
Okay. All right. Yes, Mr. Kiai and I had a brief conversation before this hearing, and we laid out how many voting members we would have, and the fact that there were some items missing on the plans that the board would like to see before they voted, and also the fact that Mr. Sirica is not present, and that the board members, some of the board members had questions of him directly. So we thought it was best to give John what we're, a roadmap as to what we're looking for in the plans, and kick it to another night or adjourn it to another night when we'd have probably more members and we'd have completed plans in front of us, so we can make a better decision. With that, Steve, are you able to?
Yeah, I can give
I
some
know there's-
comments if you're gonna return in a month, some things that I think are critical.
Yeah, when are
That, should be addressed beforehand, basically, just with the plan. The plan, I noted in my report, you'll see that there's some important dimensions that are missing. I think regard to the flag poles and the signs out front, the signs, just an overall going through, make sure all the setbacks are there. I'm not sure of the shed, but anyway, covering all that. There also, I know that there's a DEP permit that was issued for this, and should definitely reference that and be ready to clarify that this plan is in compliance with that, or it's not, or pending approval or modification, whatever it may be. And I think we need an updated parking calculation, because there was some confusion on parking demand, and I know there's a little wrinkle in here on what the planning board approved with parking on the inside, but maybe some more clarity on that would be helpful for your next hearing.
How about a fence,
And,
perimeter
yeah,
fence?
and noted that the storage area you're applying for is not fenced in, or at least it's not shown. I mean, if you're not proposing a fence, then that's something that you'll request. Just want to make sure that was considered. It's not actually enclosed. I might want to check if part of the fencing is on the neighbor's property, if it was the intention to use that, but anyway, maybe another look at that, I'd say, prior to the next hearing.
Is the fence on the neighbor's property and you want it to be enclosed?
Well, you can request what you want, but yeah, that was one major item that was noted, that you're looking for an outdoor storage yard and it's not actually enclosed or delineated.
Which I think
It
has to be
appears
enclosed
in another way.
on 4 sides, Steve?
Well, it's not allowed. So it's not an approved use. So there's not like a design standard for it.
Got it.
Typically, outdoor storage would have something like that. Storage, this is a contractor's yard, it's a little bit different, it's not approved, so there's not actually a standard, but I think.
And was there something, a structure in the easement that had to be considered or moved?
Well, that's in regard, there's some flagpoles and signs that may or may not be compliant, but you're not showing the setbacks. If they're not, I would suggest.
Chairman, I'm not sworn in, but can I just ask? I noticed that these flagpoles are within the sewer easement.
Right.
Is that the town sewer easement, or?
So, I believe so. It's not delineated there, and whether or not they're supposed to be there anyway. You have, is that in, is that in compliance with the permit that was taken out? If not, you might want to, if you're looking for a variance for that, you got to note it. I don't know why you would be looking for a variance for that to put it in a sewer easement then.
That's not a trunk line of any size, it's regular sanitary sewer.
I don't know exactly the depth. As far as I know, it hasn't been hit.
But the objection would
But-
be that the flags themselves are structures with foundations that could interfere with the easement.
Well,
As
they're,
opposed to
they're,
the sign, which is above ground.
there's not dimension shown on it, but there's requirements. Flagpoles are, I believe, signs under the ordinance, so there's setback requirements. I mean, they don't appear to be complying, so you need to ask for a variance for where they are, but there's not dimensions, so I don't know that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I'd say those would be the biggest
The biggest, yeah.
constanters.
So we would need
Clear up.
revised plans, several 10 days prior?
10 days is
10
our.
Before our next hearing? that we're gonna
Yes, if
adjourn
those
them
are
to.
the.
And would the board, I know Mr. Sarik is not here tonight, would the board want him here to ask, I think you have questions of him.
Yes, yeah, we need operational,
Yeah.
so we definitely need the applicant present. You have enough information?
I've taken everything down. Thank you.
Very good. As far as moving forward, our,
You know, we have to, Anthony, you'll be doing the revisions? Plan revisions? Or-
I did not do the site plans,
Okay.
that's someone else.
All right. Steve, what's a good next date?
The next regular meeting is July 15th. It's open.
July 15th.
The,
That's a month, so I would assume you'd have enough time to.
Absolutely, and
Jerry's gonna be on vacation, Tony and Carmen are recusing
if you want to do a
themselves.
straw poll, yeah, that's a tough.
Yeah,
Jerry's.
Jerry's gonna be
Okay.
on vacation. We would have Baskinger back potentially,
That would leave us with 6.
no Marty.
No.
So we would be with 6 again.
Yeah, so we'd have, if Jerry's out and Brian's in, that still leaves us with 6.
we're looking at August. Are there any other meetings?
August 2nd, no, August
Would we,
August 5th or the 19th.
Yeah, so, special meeting would be the 29th, only if you called for it. Typically, we don't meet. Then the August meeting would be August 12th. No, I'm sorry, 19th. You're right, 19th.
August 19th?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah,
okay,
that works for me.
everybody that's present would be available?
As of right now, I'd ask the chairman, please make a record with your attorney's approval that there's no need for us to renotice or advertise.
Yeah, I would, it would be carried, this hearing would be carried to August 19th, 7:30 in this room, no further notice or publication required. And I'm assuming whatever extension of time we would need, you'd be granted?
Yes.
Okay, extend time. Okay, that'd be it. So get the plans in when you can, in case there's any more tweaking involved. And then we'll go from there.
Mr. Kaida, thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, I'd like to bring back
Our two
our two other members.
bad boys.
Get Tony and,
No,
Steve's got to open.
Oh.
We don't need him?
No, they're,
I think Tony's coming. Good night.
we approved it. We approved it today. Lenny made a motion to approve. It went right through.
I don't know what happened.
Rick zoned out.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, we're still on, we gotta pay the bills. and-
Yeah, make him,
Oh, you got the
Yeah,
discussion
there's a
item.
memo from the police
Emma?
chief
Oh, yeah.
regarding,
thank you, Mario. All right. For all the board members, we have a discussion memo. Everybody received the letter from Gary Manna. And here it is. The police chief. You want me to read the entire letter, or
I think we
has
all-
everybody
we all got-
familiarized themselves with the
Just
letter?
acknowledge we got the letter.
And everybody,
If there's any questions.
Yeah, I'll make a comment, Mr. Chairman. It would be, in a perfect world, it would be nice if a lot of major applications that we hear, we ask them to put plate readers or give the police access to plate readers on their property to shoot down the highway or down major arteries. Because over the last couple of years, especially, a lot of the detective work in all the towns, people are getting caught because of plate readers.
yeah, I think one of the things that I wanted to do was speak to Gary and ask him, is there specific zones or areas that we should be targeting? I mean, it's not, I don't know if they're gonna, if we would request it of somebody that's on, Daniel Road,
Right.
or whether or not, if he wanted
night,
anything
John.
specific, location-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think the major arteries, of big applications on 46, on Passaic, on Two Bridges, on Fairfield Road, maybe. I think you could probably have another discussion with Gary and try to zero in on where that's gonna be.
Yeah.
But, condition of approval or something to have an applicant, us be a little bit more, interested in voting yes to, you gotta stop short of it being anything that's demanding, I don't think we
Yeah.
would demand it, but I think Gary's just looking for any help he can get on good locations.
Yeah, because I was a little confused on this, because there's a lot of, if he's asking for them to wire up or have the building capable of wiring, I'm gonna have to speak to him more.
It's pretty
I got
expensive. I don't
questions,
think
yeah.
he would be asking them to donate
I
the
know that
money
there's
for the
grant
setup.
money.
Yeah, I think Gary, is he saying in there that?
It's
that-
kind of where certain projects are put in place, combined surveillance cameras.
I understand the intent of what he's asking, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I think that might be a bit beyond our authority. Lou, I would refer to you on this one. I think you may need a municipal ordinance in place.
I would think if it's gonna be a policy, yeah.
I don't know if we could do
matter
know if
what
he's
you
asking
ask.
for a policy, if he's just asking to mention to big applications whether or not they would be inclined to it.
Maybe if
It
it's
wouldn't
not
be a conditional of approval or anything like that. It would
maybe
be
a nudge, like a suggestion that they.
How do we present that?
I think, maybe the suggestion that when the police do their review, if it's particularly important, that they get as specific as they can with the request. Because I know it was the same thing went to the planning board, and I guess there was a little confusion on what exactly do you want if the applicant was. And that, maybe that be the way that they get fairly specific in their own police report and have the request, and you could just refer to that, whether or not they're, I don't know, that was just
There
a
would be
thought.
zones that they would want to target.
Yeah, and you're not gonna know that, or,
Well,
yeah.
I would think in his comp stats, in his statistics, it'll show areas that are high, where there's a greater exposure
Yeah.
for
If
incident.
anything, I'll have a conversation with Gary about the semantics of the whole thing, and I'll get back to the board, or we'll
Yeah.
actually ask Gary to come in and speak about it.
If Tony mentioned that this letter suggests requiring builders of certain projects to put in place these cameras, et
Yeah.
cetera. But I don't know, to get back to what Jerry was saying, unless we have an ordinance, because if someone says, what's your authority for it, I don't know if we can just say,
Yeah.
it's a condition, you know? I'll kick it over to Jerry and Jerry could, no, but maybe we can make it a suggestion. And if the municipality wants to do an ordinance in place that all, land use ordinance that all, whatever projects, you meant, townhouses, et cetera, need this, then we're gonna have to have some policy backup.
I guess it would be
an ordinance
dependent on
back
the nature of the project, the scope of the project, the
Yeah.
size of the project,
Yeah.
Location, yeah.
location, right? The wherewithal of the.
And usually an ordinance specifies that, and then we can point to something if someone challenges it. We can point to an ordinance.
Okay, good. Moving on. I'd like to make a motion or take a motion to pay the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Second, Iania. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to close the meeting.
Move to close.
Move to close. Second.
Iania, second. All, that's it?
Aye.
Done.
Wait till we're off. We haven't been going since 7:30 this morning.